I'm Reese from Common, the all-in-one place for Web3 community coordination. And today I want to talk about how DAOs can empower its contributors to directly contribute towards the DAO's mission and goals by leveraging the three virtuous cycles that I believe exist within all DAOs in the ecosystem. But before we get into that, I think it's important to orient ourselves around a step back and look at the roles that exist within all communities, not just Web3 communities. And those roles are strategy, growth, operations, and the participants. So starting off with growth, they play the hunter role within the communities. They go out and bring in more people into the community. I look at communities as a creative relationship building, oftentimes scalably, but can be one-to-one, and it's growth's role to make those relationships. Operations can think of them as the community manager function, where they're responsible for keeping the community happy and active. Participants are as self-explanatory, but I think there's two subsets within this role: is the general participant or the general community member, and the actual DAO contributor or community contributor. Participants are the ones that are only really participating in the social aspect of the community and DAO. Example, just saying GM and chat and participating in just general conversations within the community. And the contributors are the ones directly making direct contributions towards the DAO's mission and goals. And the last one, strategy. Their responsibility is to look at the community and DAO as a whole and figure out how to allocate resources according to the goals or that they want to achieve, or perhaps the shortcomings that they're seeing within the entire community. Now, getting into the three virtuous cycles, I want to start with the participator loop here. I think this is what really drives, this loop really drives retention with participants within the community and DAO. Every time they engage and their engagements are validated or acknowledged, they're then more likely to engage, and so on and so forth. As an example, Arbitrum early days, they recognized in other communities that people were joining in and wanting to participate and wanting to engage in the conversation, which I think is a big deal. That means they really care about the community's vision and the DAO, what the DAO is building, and they were getting ignored, and that's not a great way to retain these people that are really are showing initial interest in your community, and not how you can. It makes it really difficult to attract contributors to the community as well. So participants are more likely to engage again if their whatever they're participating in is acknowledged and engaged with by either the operations or other community members. Moving on to the contributor loop, which I think really drives the process of DAOs, is it's starting with the opportunity to contribute, and then a contributor actioning on that opportunity and actually contributing, and then getting rewarded for that contribution that they've made. And with that reward, they're then more likely to seek out another opportunity to action on. Now, the last virtuous cycle that I believe exists within all DAOs is the community product loop. Now, I think within the current market conditions and with the current crypto industry, it's extremely difficult and almost impossible for a crypto project to succeed without a strong and active community. I think communities help build and strengthen the project's core offering in its diversity and perspective. And a community is really a strong ambassador base to go out and spread the word about the core offering that the project is building. I think it's been proven in the current market that almost the only viable growth option is organic growth, and that's done through community. We haven't really seen success with paying your way to substantial growth metrics. An example, paid advertising hasn't been a viable use case across the industry. The most viable being organic growth fueled by community. And I think with this core offering, product, service, whatever the DAO chooses to leverage its pooled resources to build, I think the better that core offering is, the more it strengthens the community, the more that people want to get involved and directly help build and co-create that core offering. Now, putting this all together, this is a lot. It's definitely something I'm working on, putting all of these virtuous cycles together. So talked about the community side virtuous cycles here, the participator and contributor loops, kind of merging them together and creating this participator to contributor onboarding funnel. So going back to the first virtuous cycle we talked about, they're more likely to engage if those engagements are acknowledged, validated, and is answered or somebody reacts to it, and so on and so forth, creating this flywheel effect. I think that builds a really strong, that's what builds a basis of trust with new participants entering into the community. And with that basis of trust built, they're then more likely to seek out opportunities to contribute more directly to what the DAO is building and directly contribute to the core offering that is being co-created. So all of these actions that exist within these virtuous cycles are things that the strategy, operations, and growth roles can use to help drive the community and DAO forward, and also action on perhaps the shortcomings that exist within the specific community or DAO. As an example, if there is lack of participation within the community, you can reflect on if participants' action or engagements are actually being acknowledged and interacted with, or if they're just like yelling into the void. People are joining the community and just like messaging into the void and nobody's interacting. So putting a heavier focus on the validating action, for example. And there maybe it could also look at the opportunities to contribute. Maybe there's not enough opportunities for people that are really passionate about the community and DAO and everything that's been built, but there's not opportunity for them to contribute in more meaningful ways that leverage their specific skill sets. So could look at delegate programs, for example, to introduce more opportunities for that. In this video, I want to focus on the touch points that exist within the contributor loop. So these are all of these touch points, I think, are ways that are tools for the strategy role where they can allocate resource accordingly, depending on, again, to address the shortcomings, if they want to address shortcomings that exist within the community, stuff that needs to be worked on, or just in general help drive the DAO forward. So mentioned opportunities to contribute could address issues or just help achieve DAO goals. That could be in the form of a grants program, ambassador program, or a delegate program. There's a bunch of different initiatives. I think it's important to reflect on what the DAO and community needs and create opportunities around that. Oftentimes, I think the best initiatives that we see are actually co-created with the general community. And I also think getting rewarded is oftentimes people just think it can only be financial reward. I think a lot of success has come from giving non-financial awards. When taking a look at figuring out what rewards to give contributors that have made meaningful contributions to the DAO or community, I think it's important to reflect on the values that the community and DAO has, and the level of the scope of contributions that have been made. So examples of non-financial could be reputation-based, giving them a larger platform within the community. They could be getting access to gated areas within the community to develop a working group and giving them more responsibility that way. Community NFTs has had some success within communities as well. And now I want to take a look at specific initiatives that we've seen on Common, while keeping in mind this virtuous cycle and how these initiatives have encouraged this virtuous cycle. Starting with a more casual initiative here. So Gourd DAO, love the name. This is a good way to, if the team has recognized that perhaps there's lacking a social aspect within the community and general culture of the DAO, could create a fun contest for the best jack-o'-lantern, or a more casual idea, easy way for people to get involved and allow them to show their personality and engage with other people in a more casual manner. I think the concept of contest can be used for a bunch of different things, not just casual. An example is this could be a request for a proposal contest. You could post if you want a specific product built within the DAO, or you want somebody to take on leading a specific working group within the DAO. You could create a contest around it and let the community decide by voting the best submission for that request for proposal contest. And the winner obviously gets the funding and go ahead from the general community to execute on their idea that they submitted. Moving on to, I think the layer zero example here is a great, where they identified that a set of developers that have leverage, that have built on layer zero, built their own applications using layer zero, are extremely important contributors to the project, and rewarded them by giving them both more responsibility and decision-making power, and access to a unique gated area within the community. Gonna go to the gating was bounty hunter submissions was another one. RFP allow list. So they created this area within their community to allow these developers to determine token distribution, which I think is really cool. So they identified all of the developers that have made meaningful contributions to their community, gave them access to this gated area, and allowed them to pitch how they think token distribution should happen after TGE. And again, whoa. All right, I'm going to maybe nod camera for this one. Example of a grants working group, identifying some of the most important contributors that in the community within the DAO, and giving them the responsibility of creating a grants working group, and enabling them to determine how they should fund specific projects to help drive the DAO forward and help achieve its goals. And those are some of the ways that you can empower DAO contributors to more meaningfully or more directly contribute to the mission and current goals that the DAO has. Reminder: community is building relationships in creative ways, and I think creating a DAO requires similar levels of creativity to work towards that vision that was created. And I think there are tons of things that you can do, or initiatives that can be experimented with. Encourage you to check out all of the active communities on Common for inspiration, and play around with contests. I think there's a lot of really fun initiatives that can be done to empower contributors using contests. And the gating, I think, is also a really powerful way to reward and give more responsibility to contributors that have made meaningful contributions. So, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can find me on Twitter at ReeseFH is my Twitter handle, or to keep up to date with everything that's going on with Common and the communities that are leveraging Common to coordinate and conduct governance. Follow us on common.xyz on Twitter. Thanks for listening.